Hi friends,
Hi friends,
I'm DJ.
and I'm JR.
Welcome to our channel.
So this is our first YouTube video. We are gonna just talk about our lives. We are from the US. We like to travel. As we've gotten older, we've been doing a lot more of that. So we thought we would put our travels and our interests on YouTube. A little bit about us. We met in South Beach in 2009. Yeah, so it's been what,
We
16
met
years?
online on a dating app.
Okay, we don't need to get into all of that.
What?
Like, yeah, we met online and then we met in South Beach and end of story. Everything was lovely. And then
We met in South Beach, and then we had such a great time that JR actually drove up to my work, and on his way back to Atlanta with his friends, he drove up to my work and came and saw me, and that's where he said, would I consider coming up to see him? And I said no, because I'm broke, and I had come out of a relationship and was broke. So he offered to pay for my gas if I would drive to see him, and I said okay. Yeah. I could have never afforded that where I was living. So started coming to see him every other weekend or every other 2 weeks or so.
yeah, it was
For
almost
about
every weekend.
3 months, and then he asked me to move in, and I did. So I moved to Georgia, and that's where we started, October 2009.
And the rest is history. So here we are 16 years later, and we have decided to move to Europe. We'll get into that in a little bit and tell you what's happening with all that and why. And we both had regular jobs, average, boring people.
Well, I was never boring.
Okay, whatever. Average people. And we bought houses. We just started slowly flipping. I bought a condo when I was 20. Derek moved in there. And
DJ.
Whatever. Moved in there with me eventually. And we sold it after we got married. Bought a house, fixed it up. Sold it a few years later. Bought another house, fixed it up. That one we turned into an Airbnb, two Airbnbs.
Two Airbnbs.
One was a Harry Potter themed Airbnb, and the other a Clue themed Airbnb. That was
also an escape room.
Yes, which was super fun. Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Everything was going really well, and that was kind of the plan for a while.
And we had a great time making it too. Like, that was something that we thrive on, is working together and doing renovations together. We really enjoy it. We've learned to collaborate over the years, which has taken us a long time to get to because we have very different styles. So I feel like not only did it help us personally in our marriage because we learned how to communicate on a different level than most people do, but it also helped us with the business because it wasn't just one person's style. It was both of us coming together.
Yeah. So the Airbnbs were great, and that was kind of our plan, was to open more of them, and we were planning other themed ones. And then COVID happened, and we had to... Well, all of our reservations were canceled, and we got really, really nervous that we were going to have to carry this mortgage. We had moved out. We had bought a second house and moved into it, and then all of the reservations dried up, and we were carrying 2 mortgages.
And... not to interrupt you, but also that Airbnb did so well that we were not only paying the mortgage on the Airbnb and all the utilities, but we were also paying part of our mortgage on our second home, all of our utilities and our car payments. So that Airbnb, both of them together, did so well that we thought we would continue on that until COVID hit.
Yeah, it was great. But COVID ruined it all. So we sold the house really quickly. Which wasn't planned, and it was still decorated in the Airbnb's fashion and everything, and we sold it, which is fine. Whatever. COVID happened. We fixed up our new house instead of traveling because we couldn't go anywhere. We were really about to go on a trip to Las Vegas, and they shut down the strip and shut down the world.
Had to cancel our flights and hotel and everything.
So it was crazy, and everybody knows how that went for themselves too. But we fixed up our house that we were living in, and we eventually sold that, bought another one, fixed it up, sold that. We're pretty good at it. We're creative. We have some decent style. You know, we're gay. Hey. And that's where we kind of started off deciding, we need to move to Europe. Things aren't going so hot with the election that was coming up. And
Well, to start off, though, what originally started it was the cruising. We took a few cruises and also just a regular Euro trip. And we went to London, Paris, Venice, Rome. Going where else that first trip?
Well, the first cruise was the Wonder.
No, the actual trip. We went to London, Paris, Venice, and Rome.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
And then that kind of spurred. I had always known that at one point in my life I wanted to live in Europe. That actually came from my early 20s. I had a coworker that had just moved back, I think, from Italy, and she was a Cowboys cheerleader. And I found that to be so interesting, talked to her so much about it, and I decided at some point in my life I have to live in Europe. Like, it's just so different. So when we took the trips together, it solidified that, where I was like, one day we have to live in Europe. So then everything started coming around with the election. We started getting nervous about it. We knew if it went the way that it did, that our lives would be drastically different, and we were not willing to deal with that. So I started making the suggestions, and he was agreeing, but I don't think either of us really thought at that time it would happen. We had told our friends and family. I think they all thought we were just making plans and that would never happen. But then the election happened, and JR turned to me the next day and he's like, so are we going to Europe?
I mean, I know enough history that I wasn't about to stick around for, part 2 of the fascist takeover. And so whatever, we may have to cut that. But no, I had never had any thoughts to live in Europe. I had always lived in Atlanta for my whole life, and I really thought I was going to stay there. I love to travel, love to visit places, love to visit Europe, but I didn't think I would move to it. So long story short, the house was for sale because we had renovated it. It was our biggest and fastest renovation that we had done, and we'll probably talk more about renovations and stuff in future videos. But the house was already for sale, and we were like, well, if Trump wins, then we are out. And so we
did.
So that brings us to selling the house. We had to get rid of all of our stuff, decide what needed to be packed. I think we'll probably do a video just about like the packing and selling and moving and having to get a U-box and how it all works. And, then there's just so much you have to research and plan, and, where you can go to live that will let you do
That's
it.
True.
And all the paperwork and all the just details. Shoot, just getting our dog, Rhett. Did we say we had a dog?
Yeah. Oh, no.
I don't know. We have a dog, Rhett.
He'll come up in a little while.
We had 2 at the time, and one was old and she was not doing
Scarlet.
so well. So, she did not make the trip with us. But just getting Rhett over here was probably the hardest and most expensive part.
Agreed.
Just ridiculous how difficult. You getting a human being over there, it's not that bad. Getting a dog over there, they make you go through all the hoops.
And we'll go into all of that, I think, because I do know there's a lot of people who are moving, a lot of people who are just interested in the process. So in a future video, I think we'll go over all the paperwork. I also don't think people understand what it actually takes to make this move. I've had a lot of friends that have said, oh, we're going to move. And I'm like, oh, really? Have you researched like the requirements for a visa? Have you researched, the lifestyle and what you can do, what you can't do? And no, that's just, that'll fall into place. But that's not how it works.
You have to really work at it. You have to really research. You have to really figure out the step by step. And it's not like we just decided in November we were going to move.
Correct.
We had talked about that in the summer, I think, when I guess, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but we had already talked about it.
And I had started doing all the research because I
Right.
knew that there was a possibility and I wanted to be prepared. I'm a researcher person, so I was like, let me look at where we can go, what we can do. And I mean, in the beginning, we didn't even, where we are now is not originally where we had planned. We had made other plans. And then when we actually sought out a lawyer and started looking at the steps, realized, oh, we can't actually move there. Like, we're not qualified to live in this country. So, so there's a lot to it that in one short video, we couldn't possibly go over all of it. But we definitely want to give everybody all the information so people who are looking to travel or, move the way we did can.
So in the meantime, as we've gone through selling the house and moving and all that, we've done all these great excursions and visits and trips and, museums and things, and taken lots of videos and pictures. And that's what we'll be sharing on our channel. But that is a little bit about us.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're interesting enough that you want to keep watching us. So make sure to comment and like and subscribe. And
For all the tips and tricks.
For all the tips and tricks. Are we going to have to explain that?
I will
I'll
explain this one time in the first video is JR and I quote movies, TV shows, and commercials all the time.
Probably too much.
Hundreds of times throughout a day. So you'll definitely see those riddled in our videos. And I think it'd be fun if people do try to guess where they heard certain phrases and leave it in the comments for us that they knew it from a certain show. That one happens to be from Schitt's Creek, which is one of our favorite TV shows. Yeah. We've probably watched, 6, 7 times
More
now?
than that, I think.
And there's an episode where they talk about the tips and tricks of Allez-vous cosmetics. So,
but they never give them.
No,
we will actually give.
Yes,
tips
we
and
will
tricks.
give the tips and tricks.
We'll give it to you.
But anyway, we will have lots of references like that throughout our videos.
So that's us. Thanks for watching, and we're glad you're here. Definitely be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.